After its initial cancellation and all other issues, Nigeria has taken the lead as the first African nation to launch a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, in this case, the eNaira. The Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele said 500 million eNaira, which is about $1.21 million, has already been minted. He adds that the eNaira will increase cross-border trade and promote accelerated financial inclusion for people outside the formal economy and increase remittances. The central bank has published regulatory guidelines of the currency on its website. The guideline seeks to provide simplicity in the operation of the eNaira, encourage general acceptability and use, promote low cost of transactions, drive financial inclusion while minimizing inherent risks of disintermediation of any negative impact on the financial system. Now, the eNaira Speed Wallet applications recorded over 100,000 downloads from the Google Store in 24 hours after the digital currency was launched on Monday, even as some users complained about some glitches. The Apex Bank noted that electronic funds transfer below 5,000 naira is charged 10 naira, 5,001 naira to about 50,000 naira is charged 25 naira, and for above 50,000 naira, a 50 naira charge is associated. The question some financial experts are asking is, wouldn't it lead to excess or multiple charges? Well, the central bank-backed digital currencies, or CBDCs, and cryptocurrencies are both virtual money, though the CBDCs are legal tender regulated by central banks, while cryptos are out of government control. What more can we learn from this? Quite a lot, I must say, as we dive into Nigeria's launch of the eNaira. I am Lekon Onobanjo, standing in for Tolulokpe Adeleru Balogun. Welcome. This is Business Edge. And joining me is Margaret Ogundana, a former Deputy Director, Banking and Payment System Department, Central Bank of Nigeria. She is now working as Principal Consultant with MARGO International Resources Limited. Good morning to you, Margaret.
Good morning, Leko. How are you?
All right, I'm fine. We are good, and we are glad to have you join us on Business Edge, even as we look at Nigeria's launch of the eNaira, a digital currency. So let's start this way. Now, Nigeria's central bank digital currency, known as the eNaira, has gone live since Monday. Is it a long time coming or a misplaced priority, considering the fact that El Salvador's launch of a cryptocurrency was not widely adopted as wanted? So would you say this is hitting the bullseye?
Nigeria has the population that can enable the eNaira. And like the governor had stated, the efforts which got us to where we are today with the eNaira started around 2017. And before then, there has been discussions with other countries along the West African sub-region, the ECOWAS, where efforts have been made to ensure and improve purchasing power parity of the Naira by trying to establish a common currency for trading along the West African sub-region. So it's been in the pipeline for a while, and I think it's a delight, and we should commend the efforts of governments for bringing it on board at this time.
All right, now, Nigeria's central bank says it will adapt the system after the launch to encourage use by people with no banking access, that is, those who don't even have some sort of internet-enabled phones, especially in the rural areas. Now, will this not be dependent on phone network higher than second generation? And will people actually trust this system, considering the fact that mobile money is still growing and has not been entirely adopted?
Now, let me say something from the benefit of hindsight. And what I mean by that is that when you look at the statistical provisions, or let me say data from the central bank, especially when we have consideration with respect to the monetary policy, quite a high percentage of cash sum is with the unbanked. That is, those of them that are trading outside the Nigerian banking system. So we have more volume of Naira being traded within that kind of subsector. So now we have the eNaira. And with the policy already laid out for financial inclusion, the eNaira platform will enable those unbanked. What I mean by unbanked and those of them in the visible trade sector, whereby they rather deal in cash than wanted to go to the bank for whatever reason. So now with the eNaira, it will make it easy for them to pool their resources, pool their funds, and enable the financial inclusion policy and make it a lot easier for them and less of documentation and what have you to bank or whatever, use the eNaira platform for their trading and trading activities. So it's good to have the eNaira, which is pari passu with the Naira, except for the fact that you have to have a wallet. And if you go to those markets where people trade in cash, like if you want to buy a mudu of gari or mudu of rice, the rather you deal with them in cash than for them to start going to the bank for whatever reason. So the eNaira, it's a good development, and it will enable the government or enable aspects of the monetary policy to be realizable and achievable, because it will help to pull all those funds, all those cash sum in the unbanked sector back into the banking system, whereby it may be better to manage it, to account for it, and to be able to use it for necessary recommendations for monetary policy going forward.
Oh, but I am more particular about those in the informal sector. Do you think there is anything that must be done or can be done to scale it down to, like you said, those who sell gari, probably pepper seller, and those who sell those essential commodities you would find on the road, who are not actually using a phone that is internet enabled and would help them download the app for use? Is there any means, well, we're talking about a cashless policy and the fact that we're trying to ensure that people transact businesses without carrying too much physical cash. Is there anything that can be done in that regard? So you're talking about financial inclusion. Can we scale it down proper to this set of people?
I'm sorry, I think the audio is a bit lost from this end. I couldn't hear what you just said.
Oh, okay,
sorry.
okay. I'm sorry about that. Now, this is what I'm saying. We are talking about financial inclusion, cashless policy, and trying to ensure that people transact their businesses without having to carry too much physical cash. Now, I am more concerned about those in the informal sector, those on the roads, the petty traders who sell pepper, those who sell gari, and those who sell, those essential commodities on the streets. Is this something the CBN can do to scale it out to them? Because some of them do not have internet-enabled phones that can download app and can enable them use the e-wallet to use the eNaira to transact their businesses. Is there anything that can be done in that regards?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay, so, all right, I guess we're having issues with the audio network, but then let's move on, Margaret. Let's move away from that and let's talk about the eNaira. You usually talked about financial inclusion. Now, the eNaira was adopted by BIT, that is the Barbados-based fintech firm, which is also behind the creation of CBDC. Yes, of course, I believe CBDC in some Caribbean countries. Well, let's look at it from the angle of the Nigerian fintech companies that we have in Nigeria. Are we now saying that these Nigerian fintech companies cannot see to the creation of the eNaira as we speak?
I don't think so. You see, if you want to launch something like our government just did, it's based on research and it's based on a budget. And you also want to look at other people's experiences so you don't walk alone. So I believe that not using some of those companies within in our country and maybe taking it abroad, in slight quotes, asking somebody else to let us share in their experiences may be better than just relying on local firms and companies. But be that as it may, it's not to make them feel a little bit bad, shall I say. Sometimes if you want to take up on a new level, taking up on a next level, wanting to do something very unique, you want to share other people's experiences. Maybe that's why the likes of fintech and other companies that might as well have done it in Nigeria, maybe they didn't take them along in the first instance. But let me tell you something. This is just the beginning. I believe that they will be asked to come on board. Why? Because They are based in this country. They operate here, and I believe that they have the wherewithal to look at the peculiarities of our nation and make their own contributions as we go along. So it's just the beginning. Let's hope that other companies that are based in Nigeria that have the type of technology and the knowledge, they will see it as a challenge and come on board with whatever suggestions and ideas they may have to ensure success of the launch of the eNaira going forward.
All right, I'm quite glad that you said it's just the beginning, but then I'm also glad that you are within the circle. If you were to advise the Nigerian Apex Bank, what do you think you would say to them, or what would you say to them in order to ensure that the digital currency contributes positively to the economy and has no adverse effect, as some are speculating as of now?
All right, let me look at it from the very simple economic perspectives. What I mean by that is that we have backward and forward integration. Central Bank has launched the eNaira based on maybe shared experiences with some other countries. And now going forward, we will need those companies. Going forward, we will need companies that are based here. Also going forward, we will need to do a kind of backward integration to look at what we have. What can those companies contribute to the launch and the success going forward? Because we have to take ownership. We have to take responsibility now that the eNaira has been launched. So now, and I believe it will not create any negativity. It will bring in a lot of positive orientation to our economy. It will help us to enhance productivity. Let me take, for example, the small and medium scale enterprises. There's a policy to enhance their services. There's a policy to ensure that they are brought on board with their initiatives and be brought on board to improve the level of productivity of the nation. Now we have the eNaira, which also targets them with respect to financial inclusion, which means it will help to permeate the system, also better, or in addition, or in, shall I say, it's a compatibility with the Naira, because it's the same thing as the Naira, only you can now use the Naira and trade it on an additional platform. And it also helped to boost the payment system. If you look at the payment system in Nigeria, it is homegrown. It is homegrown. It started from somewhere, and the idea came on board, and now it's been expanded. It's been expansive, and a lot of people are coming on board and acknowledging the fact that we have a robust payment system, which is meant to help us with the financial transaction, not just banking, financial transactions, which is inclusive of banking. Right. So I see it more as helping us to improve our productivity, boosting our GDP, enhancing latent initiatives, and also bringing aboard what we really need to do to help this nation going forward and live up to its billing. Because with this population, the population also enables whatever initiatives we have, so long as we are keen to it and take it up with a view to enable success of the launch, like the eNaira.
All right, thank you so much, Margaret. You get to stay with us even as we take a cup of tea on that. We get to sip a cup of tea on that, and we get to engage you at the other side of the break. Stay with us, Margaret. Now, we have been talking about the recent launch of the eNaira by the Nigerian government, aided by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, experts are saying whether the launch of the digital currency would be salutary or destabilizing would depend on how it is implemented. Well, a break will do for now. We get to engage Margaret more on the flip side. You're watching Business Edge on New Central TV. Do stay with us. You're still watching Business Edge on New Central. Still with me is Margaret Ogundana, former Deputy Director, Banking and Payment System Department, Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, Margaret, let's have your take on this. Now, some analysts have indicated that the adoption of the CBDC and its underlying technology, blockchain, can actually increase Nigeria's GDP by $29 billion over the next 10 years. Now, how true is this fact?
That is very, very true. That is very, very true, and true in the sense that, like I just said before we took that short break, this is our product. The eNaira is our product. Central Bank has a mandate by virtue of its the act creating it to maintain the currency. And now we have our own sovereignty with respect to that launch of that currency. It is a currency, the eNaira is going to help us to expand and enhance the status of our Naira. It will take it beyond the standard level. It will take it to a level whereby I believe everybody will be proud of it. Now, let's take, for instance, the cost of production or the cost. You said something about the charges, when you were making your opening statements. Those charges along the line will reduce because why? More and more technology will be deployed, and anything that has to do with risks will be nipped in the bud because this is our product. When you have a product, we have to key into it. We have to be responsible. We have to ensure that it works and see the way technology has been exploding lately. And we have a lot of companies in this nation and outside our shores in collaboration with many others who are ready to help us to take this currency, take our payment system platform to a greater heights. And we should all, and Nigerians, be very proud of this launch. Why? Because it will help us to enhance our productivity. It will make the business environment a lot more relaxing and with a lot of sense of relief. And in addition to that, if you look at some of the items listed in the guidelines, even it will also help us to improve on the social safety nets, which government has been trying to use to disperse funds to some of the less privileged. So I see the eNaira as something that will just help us to improve further all our transactions, especially in the financial sector. That means including banking and other areas, that is bank and other financial institutions, and it will also help us to bring on board, like I had said earlier, those aspects or those areas of invisible trades where people prefer, to deal in local cash and then pocket it rather than using the bank. If you go to some of those local markets, for instance, you see them still practicing esusu. Esusu means you put some money aside instead of taking it to the bank, and maybe somebody who is the coordinator will take it there. Yeah. But right now, with the eNaira, you don't need to do all that. So the launch of the eNaira will also help us to improve not just the payment system, but internet facilities and anything technology that will help us to enable it to achieve those laudable objectives for which it was launched in the first instance.
All right, so Margaret, rather quickly, you've talked about improvements on all sides in the business economy, the business community and the sector. But then some sentiments, if I may echo what some have said, is that the eNaira, the value of the eNaira is equivalent to the Naira, as it were. Now, don't you think that's an anomaly, so to speak, when you have the value of the Naira not being stable, a fall, then a rise, and the fact that it's not having that bit of quality on when it comes to transaction, not only in Nigeria, but outside Nigeria, Forex and all that. Now, don't you think the value of the Naira would affect the value and the transactability of the eNaira?
Sorry, there's a problem with the audio.
Hello, Margaret, can you hear us?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Now, but there was a problem with the audio.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, what I'm asking is that the value of the Naira, don't you think it would affect the value of the eNaira, looking at the fact that there is a rise and fall in the value of the Naira when it comes to trading in Forex? Just your quick take on that.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
All right, well, Margaret, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on the program Business Edge. We really appreciate your time as you have spoken to us about the launch of the eNaira, that is the e-wallet, the eNaira, which is a digital currency put forward by the federal government of Nigeria and aided by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Thank you so much, Margaret Ogundana, and glad to have you join us on the show. Well, then, the eNaira's operation guidelines is accessible to everyone on the Central Bank of Nigeria's website. Let's share Well, basically, that's what it is. Now, let me let you know this, that the mobile phone numbers will, with verified NIN or Tier 1 CBN, say they have a daily transaction cap of 50,000 Naira and a maximum balance of 300,000 Naira. Now, for two-tier accounts, such will have access to a daily transaction of 200,000 Naira, while 500,000 Naira is the maximum balance that can be held. That is the information we have. And we also know that while the three-tier account holder can transact a maximum of 1 million Naira daily, while the maximum balance it can hold is 5 million Naira. However, the Central Bank of Nigeria noted that merchant accounts have access to unlimited transactions. And that is it about the eNaira. That's it on these segments. Let's go for another quick break. And when we return, we'll take you through 4 developing stories you should watch out for on NC4 to watch. Do stay with us. And taking you through the 4 top stories on NC4 to watch. Let's start by telling you that Nigerian automotive technology company known as AutoCheck will facilitate auto financing across Africa, as secured $13.1 million in seed funding. The round was co-led by follow-on investors, that is TLCom Capital and 4DX Ventures, with participation from existing investors Golden Palm Investments, Enza Capital, Lateral Capital, as well as new participants, which are Ask Capital and Mobility 54 Investment SAS. Moving on, cost of alternative powered cars in South Africa is still high, but a manufacturer is looking inward for a solution. Toyota South African Motors, TSAM, is anticipating that the government will provide a support package to reduce the price of new energy vehicles to make them more accessible and drive volumes. Away from that, Tangaza, a mobile payments service provider, also known as Mobile Pay Limited, has had its license revoked as a payment service provider by the Central Bank of Kenya. In a statement, CBK said that Tangaza has continued to violate the national payment system laws and regulations and has persistently failed to discharge its statutory obligations. Finally, Zimbabwe Finance Minister Mthuli Nkombe has said that it will propose a 900 billion Zimbabwe dollars, which is about $9.68 billion budget for 2022, more than double this year's total as the country struggles with surging inflation. In July, Nkombe had signaled plans for a 579 billion Zimbabwe dollar budget in 2022, and the latest upwards revision signals how inflation is impacting the government's planning. And that's it on Business Edge for today. Do not forget to join the conversation on all our social media platforms. That is at New Central TV. See you next week. My name is Lekon Obanjo. Have a wonderful day.